Good afternoon. I want to thank you for coming tonight to share in what's a very special occasion for me to reunite with my almost first generation of students from my 14 years at Loyola. I think I learned more from them than they learned from me. They were very formative years. They always say college years are formative. They're formative for college professors too when you start. And this group did some great music, great performances, and I'm not going to talk about each one of the soloists, but they have all of these soloists have sung professionally, played professionally. The first day of the first semester at Loyola, they had a student convocation, and they always have some student play on that, and I never knew what was going on at Loyola at the time, and this young man played some Bach on that recital, and it was just fabulous. And I found out that he had just come in third in the international Bach competition that year, and an artist in residence at a nearby university that I won't name. But the artist in residence over there didn't make the finals. And I thought, and I'm going to have to teach people like this, you know. This is probably not going to end well. But so in addition to Father Sean, who's in the program there were college voice teachers in this group that were singing today. Several of them, you may hear some. It's just been a pleasure to work with all these folks, and we're going to enjoy a few soloists before we have the choir.
Good afternoon. Dr. Wyatt said it would be okay for me to say a few things, so about 30 minutes now. Just before we get started. Many of you know this, some of you here were part of it, but some of us in this group first sang with Dr. Wyatt over 50 years ago, which is mind-blowing, obviously. And even the youngsters here are pushing 40 years since they sang with this group. So in addition to a lot of beautiful music, I hope you'll feel the memories and the emotions and the love that's here. Many of these people are cherished friends that have been for the vast majority of their lives. We also have memories of that time. So you're looking at people here who were doing this in the 70s and 80s. And just right down the block at Loyola, that big fancy building there was not there. It was an old house that was actually a state-of-the-art facility in 1892. But that's where all these incredibly talented people learned a lot of what they knew about this. And we got into a lot of trouble over at that place, right? But it was a very special time. That time also, we didn't know that it was a simpler time. We thought it was kind of tumultuous, right, the 70s. But we had no idea what was coming, right? Major national disasters, global pandemics, Taylor Swift. I mean, who could have seen that? I'm still trying to get tickets. It's amazing. But really, in retrospect now, we know it was a simpler, kinder, more naive time than the times we live in now. However, even back then, there were things in our community that were very concerning. In fact, not too far from where we are right now, there was a place, I remember well, called Abschieds. Abschieds. Sounds kind of sketchy, right? Abschieds. I seem to remember they made a pretty mean roast beef bowl. I had quite a few of those. But they offered up something else that was not quite so nourishing. Because you see, the full name of Abschieds was Abschieds Pool Hall. Does anybody remember Abschieds? Sure, some of you. Abschieds Pool Hall. And they had something there that was not quite so nice. It's a pool table. Don't you understand? Friends, either you're closing your eyes to a situation you do not wish to acknowledge, or you are not aware of the caliber of disaster indicated by the presence of a pool table in your community. Well, you got trouble, my friends. Right here, say trouble right here in River City. Why, sure, I'm a legal player. Certainly, you gotta say I'm always mighty proud to see. I consider the hours I spend with a cue in my hand to go. Helps you cultivate the horses of cool and keen. Did you ever take a try and find an unplanned lead for yourself on a three-rail billiard shot? But just as I say, take judgment, brains, and maturing your sword a bottle-line game, I say to you, move, and take and shove a ball and pop. And I call that song the first big step on the road to the depths of day-to-day. I say first, medicinal wine from a teaspoon, then beer from a bottle. And the next thing you know, your son is playing more money in a pitch deck suit. And listen to something out of Tom Jasper here and tell about horse race gambling. Not a wholesome trot race, no, but a person they sit down right on the horse. Like to see some stuck-up jockey boy sitting on Dan Patch and makes blood boil while I shoot snake. Now, friends, let me tell you what I mean. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pockets at the table. Pockets that mark the difference between a gentleman and a bum with a capital P and that rhymes with P and that stands for fool. And all week long you read the city of me further away. I say you're young man to be free. Further away there in noontime, summertime, short time. Get the ball in the pocket, never mind the dandelions, full of the street, nor patch nor the beach stick now. Man, I'm not calling any harder for your parents are talking with a sister empty on a Saturday night, and that's trouble. Yes, you got lots and lots of trouble. I'm thinking of the kids in the Knickerbocker shirt, green baskets, peeking in the pool hall, which that's when you got trouble. Those right here in the city. Trouble with a capital T, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool. Now, I know all of you folks are the right kind of parents, so I'm going to be perfectly frank. Would you like to know what kind of conversation goes on while they're loafing around that hall? Trying out people, trying out Cubans, trying out tailor-mades like cigarette peels, and bragging all about how they get a couple of telltale breathless sense. One fine night, they leave the pool hall, head for the dance of the armory, libertine men, scarlet women, and ragtime. Shameless music that'll join your son. You're going to the arms of the jungle, animal instinct. Massive area, friends, the island reigns, the devil's playground, trouble. Right here in the city, with a capital T that rhymes with P that stands for fools. We've surely got trouble. Right here in the city, we gotta figure out a way to keep the upwards moral after school. Mothers of River City, heed that warning before it's too late. Watch for the telltale signs of corruption. The minute your son leaves the house, does he rebuckle his knickerbockers below the knees? Is there a nicotine stain on his index finger? A dime novel hidden in the Korngold? Is he starting to memorize jokes from Captain Billy's whiz bag? Or certain words creeping into his conversation? Words like, Wyatt! And so is your old man? Well, if so, my friends, you got trouble. Right here in the city, with a capital T that rhymes with P that stands for gold. We've surely got trouble. Right here in the city, remember the name, and it's rock and roll and blue. Oh, we got trouble. We're terrible, terrible trouble. That day with those 15 number balls is never. Oh, yes, we got trouble, trouble, trouble. With a T that rhymes with P that stands for gold.
That is a very tough artist to follow. The translation is not exactly right. It's Christina Rossetti's poem. When I am dead, my dearest, sing those sad songs for me. Plant thou no roses at my head in the more shady cypress tree. Be the green grass above me with showers and dewdrops wet. And if thou wilt, remember. And if thou wilt, forget. I shall that doth not rise nor set. Haply I may remember, and haply may forget. Christina Rossetti.
Things that
Students like this make a professor look pretty good, you know? That's the best way. Keith Harmeyer, I had lunch with him coming through Florida a couple of months ago, and I asked him how many roles he had done. He sung over 200 shows, but he had several years as an opera performer and a lot of years as an advertising guy. Robbie Wagner went to Curtis after graduating from Loyola, and then went to Europe and sang in Austria, sang in shows that toured through Europe and lots of things in Austria. Phyllis Treigle went to the Houston Grand Opera from here, sang professionally and is now teaching voice at NOCA. Antonio Giuliano left Loyola, joined the Army Chorus in Washington, D.C., spent almost 30 years in the Army Chorus, singing for presidents from Reagan up to Mr. Trump. And Kevin Rouchelle has had a nice career here singing locally. And Wayne Pope just recently retired as the chairman of the voice faculty at Western Kentucky University. So, congratulations. Some music majors do make a living. And many of these people, I don't know, how many of you taught music in public or private schools? Raise your hand. It's not too bad, is it? And we have any music therapists here? Yeah, a couple of music therapists. We have some school principals, and some people who just really supported and continued to sing in the arts avocationally for all of these years. And we need to keep this music kind of thing going. You can see what it does in the community and in the world, actually, because this is just a small music school in New Orleans, and look at what it's done all over the world. Oh, I said Brett came in, we knew him as Brett when he was a student. He came in third that year in the International Bach competition, but he won it twice later. and they had a recording contract and sing all over the world. He missed our last reunion because he was performing at the Czech Philharmonic. So, we're going to sing this first three selections without stopping for applause. They're intended to recognize our Jesuit and Catholic heritage at This next selection was commissioned in honor and memory of a young girl who was killed in a rear-end car collision. She was 9 years old, and her parents, both wonderful musicians, and they sang in my choir in South Carolina. and Lily, they started commissioning music in her memory, and we thought we would use this one as a memoriam for choir members and faculty members at Loyola and others that have had an impact on us. Very touching poem, and we're singing this in memoriam to those folks. Spirituals were always some of my favorites, and this next one shows a special place because in 1975 we took the choir to Rome for the Holy Year, and we were invited to sing for the midweek audience with the Mass, 10,000 people, small audience, chamber music, you know, and I went. C.J. McNaspy took me down to meet the Master of Ceremonies, and he said, "You can sing for 1 minute, no more than 1 minute." And I'm going to say, we're glad to have the Loyola Chorale from University of New Orleans, Loyola Chorale from New Orleans here, and they're going to sing for us. And you just start. And so I looked, and this piece was 1 minute long. We can do this. And I had to get it started to fill our 1 minute, you know. And so that's exactly what he said. And I went, 1, 2, 3. And the Pope said, "We're always glad to have choirs from the United States here." And I don't know whether to stop and wait for him to finish. And he just put his hand over his mouth and said, "Never mind," you know. And so that was my first introduction to an audience with the Pope. And then CJ says, "He may call you down, come down to meet him." And I said, "Well, what do I do if I go down there? I hear, you know, Southern Baptist, Presbyterian, now teaching in a Catholic school. I don't know what I'm doing." And CJ said, "I don't know either." He said, "Just do what the people in front of you do." All the way through this thing, once we get through with this piece of music, I'm sitting there, what if I go down, what if I go down? I'm putting this in front of 10,000 people, and then I heard, what if I'm first? I could start a real faux pas from the internet. But anyway, he didn't call us down, and I was very relieved. And so this is the piece that we use to interrupt the Pope.
Yes, every time I feel
That was Pat Ruello on the piano, and most unusual there. She sang in the chorale for a year, and my predecessor had the most beautiful choir picture taken down in Jackson Square in front of the Andrew Jackson statue, and just as they snapped the picture, a flock of pigeons went up in the faces of all kids. Just the best picture ever. So I tried to do that too. We couldn't gather the pigeons. I don't know what happened. But we took some pictures, and then of course this group, being what they're, and the drinking age was 18. They said, "Let's go to Pat O'Brien's." 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon. So we were just about the only people in Pat O'Brien's, and so they had the two pianos up there, you know. So Pat here went up to the piano and started playing. And then some of the kids got up and started singing. And so we just entertained ourselves for an hour and a half or so there. But Pat ended up getting a job. And she spent a lot of years playing in Pat O'Brien's as a result of the chorale pictures. And I lost a soprano. And she probably made more money than I did. And then this next selection is sort of a choir tradition, at least from our time. Back in around 76 or 7, somewhere along in there, the Chamber of Commerce called me and said, Perry Como is going to come to New Orleans and he's going to film a special called Perry Como Goes to Mardi Gras. And he needs 8 backup singers. And they said, could you provide them? And I said, well, I could probably provide them, but if I wanted 8 backup fingers, I'd want to pick them, you know, and I wouldn't let somebody else pick them. And I said, call him back and see if he feels that way. They called me back a couple of days. That's what he wants to do. He wants. So I set up auditions for him, and we had about 20 or 30 people come, and a bunch of these guys. Well, I used to exaggerate the number at every concert on tours. That's what they're laughing about back there. But it really was about 25 or so. And he did the auditions, and he came out and he said, "Okay, here's my top 10. Do you know these people?" And I said, "Well, the first 7 are all in my choir. And number 8 I don't know, but number 9 is in my choir." He said, "I'm taking the first 7 and the number 9, and that's the backup." And so then he said, "I'd like to take you and your wife to dinner." We went to Brennan's, had a nice conversation about music and TV shows and so forth. And we were talking about tunes in the show or not in the show. And I said, "I've always thought I'd love to have 'Do You Know What It Means' as an encore for our choir tour concerts." And that's just it. And then about 6 weeks later, I got a call. He said, come down to my hotel. We're in town to do the shoot, and just ask the desk clerk, I've left something for you. And it was this arrangement of Do You Know What It Means to Miss New Orleans. It's ours, and nobody else can have it.